So next up, podcast listeners, we have the dumbest bill in America. And do we have a lead up, Mr. Producer? Here it is.
Dum 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 dum.
And it's the dumbest bill in America, and it is allowing illegals to vote. That's right, allowing illegals to vote. New York moves to allow 800,000 non-citizens to vote in local elections. You heard that correctly. New York City lawmakers are poised to allow more than 800,000 New Yorkers who are green card holders or who have the legal right to work in the United States to vote in municipal elections and for local ballot initiatives. The bill, known as Our City, Our Vote, would make New York City the largest municipality in the country to allow non-citizens to vote in local elections. The legislation, expected to be approved by the City Council on December 9th by a veto-proof margin, comes as the country is dealing with a swath of new laws to impose voter restrictions, as well as the economic and demographic effects of a decline in immigration. And by the way, this is right from the New York Times. You can tell the slant. Voters in Alabama, Colorado, and Florida passed ballot measures last year specifying that only U.S. citizens could vote. Oh, how awful. Sarcasm intended. The states joined Arizona and North Dakota in specifying that non-citizens could not vote in state and local elections. Imagine why such a law would even be required. That you would even have to pass a law saying, yeah, if you're a non-citizen, you can't vote. I mean, isn't that like implied? I thought. I mean, it's important for the Democrat Party to look at New York City and see that when voting rights are being attacked, we are expanding voter participation, said Ydanis Rodriguez. So that was from Ydanis Rodriguez, who's a councilman in New York City and who sponsored the bill and represents Washington Heights and Upper Manhattan. Again, quote, it's important for the Democrat Party to look at New York City and see that when voting rights are being attacked, we are expanding voter participation, said Ydanis Rodriguez, a city councilman in Manhattan. Well, folks, we have a clip from this gentleman who's the city council district 10 member in New York. He's the sponsor of the bill. Here he is, segmenting people by tribes, just as you would expect. Typical Democrat. We had that clip, and here it is.
Buenas noches. Buenas noches. Good evening, everyone. We are in a new period of time. 2013 is a new year where the city is changing. The city is composed now mainly by, when you look at the demographic, is Black, Latino, white, Asian.
There you go. Typical Democrat. Let's separate everybody by tribes because that's how they should be elected. And that's also how we should govern is by tribal mechanisms in politics. So here is Ydanis Rodriguez, also the city council member from Manhattan, talking about how everybody should get their fair share. So first you separate people by tribe. Then you talk about fair share. And then you get all of the illegals to say, well, wait a minute. I need to get my fair share too, even though I'm illegal. I should have the right to vote. Well, here he is. We have that clip. Listen.
Second, how will you assure working class and middle class community that we will get a fair share of distribution or the resources that we have in our city?
Can you believe that? How will we decide and determine that you get the fair share that you deserve because you deserve it? Because even though you're illegal, you deserve the fair share. What's interesting is that was from a few years ago from Ydanis Rodriguez. And today, the Democrats aren't using the term fair share so much as they are equity, right? So that's the new term, right? Equity. So you are illegal. You're living in New York City, and you have this guy, Ydanis Rodriguez, who is saying that equity should matter. And the reason why equity matters is because you're here, you're illegal, and you deserve to have everything. You shouldn't work towards becoming legal. You shouldn't work towards becoming an actual citizen. Oh no, you just deserve stuff because you're here. So who is Ydanis Rodriguez? Well, I pulled him up on Wikipedia, which you can't trust, of course, but it's the closest I could get. He was born in 1965, a politician from the state of New York who represents the 10th district on the New York City Council. He's a Democrat, no, he's a Marxist, who was first elected to the city council in 2009. Rodriguez was reelected in 2013 and 2017. He serves as chair of the Transportation Committee. He is known for his November 2011 arrest at an Occupy Wall Street rally. There you go. So, Ydanis Rodriguez is part of that Barack Obama movement where they separated people first by class, which is the Marxist way you get to pit people against one another. And so he was arrested, Ydanis Rodriguez was arrested as part of the Occupy Wall Street rally, which was that movement that was developed in order to separate people and make them hate anyone who was even remotely successful or who got somewhere by working hard, all the stuff that you're not allowed to talk about now. And now this is the guy who's like, well, there's one great way to take over the United States of America, and that is let's let all of the illegals vote. By the way, he wasn't just born in 1965, but he was born in Santiago, Dominican Republic. And so he's a citizen today, but he was born somewhere else. He became a citizen in the United States and now is saying effectively, well, nobody should actually, have to go through the process of becoming a citizen because we just need their votes. Tell me something, podcast listeners. Tell me there isn't a connection between that bill that this idiot Rodriguez put in to legalize illegals to vote in New York City and what's happening at our southern border. An open border to let all these people Tell me the Democrat Party isn't trying to upend the United States of America. Tell me that this same individual, Ydanis Rodriguez in New York City, who just voted to remove the statue of Thomas Jefferson from City Hall in New York City, tell me that this individual isn't trying to overthrow the United States of America by first telling people and separating them by equity and fair share. Then, of course, saying, well, we should have open borders and as many people should come in as they want. Then voting to let them vote. And then, of course, getting rid of Thomas Jefferson. Oh, how convenient. This is all connected, ladies and gentlemen. And I know that you probably have thought that for a while, but it's time that we start connecting the dots and realize that this is coordinated between the Obama administration and now the Biden administration, which of course is the third term of the Obama administration, and the locally elected Democrats are doing everything they can to cheat and to take over the United States and to turn it into a Marxist country. And that is the dumbest bill in America.